When a couple decides to separate, there are many things to figure out. Separation of property, child custody, and child support. We've called in divorce lawyer Tanya Davies to help answer some of your questions for us this morning. Tanya, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Annette.
So we have some questions that we have taken in from some of our viewers, so we'll get right to them. Let's start with the first one. And this one coming in from Pam via email. She writes, I have full custody. Does my ex-girlfriend have to pay child support?
The word custody, Annette, actually refers to decision making, and custody has nothing to do with the payments of child support. What does is primary residence of the child. So if the child is primarily residing with Pam, then absolutely child support should be payable. If it's a week on, week off arrangement, then it's a set off amount by the highest income earner that is payable.
All right, this next question, can I get child support without a custody agreement?
Well, you can certainly ask for it, and pursuant to the guidelines, you would be entitled to it. But if the pair says no, then it's impossible to enforce a verbal agreement. This is why you need to get a lawyer right away. You need to either legalize it via separation agreement, or if child support amount is still in dispute, proceed to court.
Okay, this one might follow with that same kind of answer. This viewer writing in, I'm trying to put together an agreement with my ex about our child, and I don't have a lawyer. What are some things I should put in the agreement?
And again, from a lawyer's perspective, Annette, an agreement basically drafted on a piece of napkin at a kitchen table can be easily set aside. I always advise clients that you need to get a lawyer. And it's not only parenting arrangements that would go into the agreement. If there are other issues, it would be child support, spousal support, and of course, division of property.
This one may be a little bit more complicated, and I don't know how common this question is, but interesting nonetheless. In our final court order, it says I cannot change the name of our child, but now our child, who is 12, wants to change his last name. What do I do?
At the age of 12, Annette, the child would certainly have a voice. So you need to speak with your ex and see why the child is thinking of changing the last name or first name for that matter. And if it's on consent by the parents, then certainly you can allow the child to do so. If it's not on consent, you would need to bring a motion in court and either appoint a private assessor or Office of the Children's Lawyer to ascertain the child's views and preferences.
Is this something we see often where the child wants to change names to one of the other parents?
It really depends. Sometimes there is influence, undue influence, I should say, by the other parent. And you need to be careful about it. If there is parental alienation, if you're saying you need to remove, let's say if the last name is hyphenated, the other parent's last name, if the child is doing it for the right reasons, fine. But if there is a bit of parental alienation happening, you need to be careful because we're seeing that the courts can even reverse primary residence if they determine that there is parental alienation.
All right, we'll take our next question now, and that is, I would like to file for divorce. Or no, actually, we have a different one. My spouse is living in a different city from me. How do I file for divorce?
If this person resides in Ottawa, as long as they have been residing in Ottawa for at least a year, it's irrelevant where the spouse resides. You can certainly file in this jurisdiction.
All right, and last but not least, I'm meeting with my divorce lawyer for the first time. What are the important questions I should ask? That coming in from Maggie.
So Maggie should know that there are options whenever you're trying to resolve all the outstanding issues, lawyer-assisted mediation, for example. And if this does not work, you also need to know the steps of the court process. Sometimes clients expect that the issues will be resolved in one stage, but that is not the case. There are mandatory steps in the court proceeding.
Tanya, we've talked to you a couple times over this pandemic about families looking to separate at this time. Are you still seeing a lot of families, a lot of couples wanting to break up during this pandemic?
Unfortunately, yes, Annette.
All right. Thank you so much, Tanya Davies, divorce lawyer with Davies Law Firm, bringing us some information this morning for families who had those questions for us. Thank you, Tanya.
Thank you very much, Annette.